Gopijana Ballabha Girivardhari Jasavanandana Raja Jana Ranjana Nandana Raja Jana Ranjana Shirāvanachari Shirāvanachari Jaya Radha Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Wow, y'all really did a good job chanting along. I really appreciated it. It really inspired me by your enthusiasm. Thank you very much. So I've been given a wonderful topic. Actually, it's a double header topic, 2 parts, tonight and tomorrow night. Pretty exciting topic, really. Save oneself or saving the world, a preacher's dilemma, a seminar based on the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Nrsingadev from the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7 and Canto 5. So when they say, why first Canto 7 instead of Canto 5, that's numerical order, right? 5, 6, 7. Well, because of the subject matter, Canto 7 deals with one half of the subject, and Canto 5 deals with the other half. That's why we're starting off with Canto 7. Because it's a matter of the subject matter. So we'll look at these verses. I've been told these are verses related. The whole idea is this. Lord Chaitanya's mission is to save the world. But, how you can save the world if you're not saved? Srila Prabhupada told us the most important thing is to save the world. Even more important is to save yourself. So both things are there. So how do you balance these two? We have an in-depth discussion of this, how to do this balancing act between saving yourself and saving others. So let's look at some of these verses that I've been referred to here. 7, 9, 8 is the first one we'll look at. 7, 9, 8. Prahlad Maharaj prayed, how is it possible for one, or rather, how is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even until now, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and all the saintly persons could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words, although such persons are very qualified being in the mode of goodness. Then what is to be said of me? I am not at all qualified. Prabhupada talks about this in the purport. A Vaishnava who is fully qualified to serve the Lord still thinks of himself extremely low while offering prayers to the Lord. For example, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, Jagai Madai Haite Muni se papishta, parishara kitta haite manu se lagishta. Thus he considers himself unqualified, lower than the worms in the stool, and more sinful than Jagai and Madai. A pure Vaishnava actually thinks of himself in this way. Similarly, although Prahlad Maharaj was a very pure, exalted Vaishnava, he thought himself most unqualified to offer prayer to the Supreme Lord. Mahajano yena gatasa pantha. Every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of his Vaishnava qualifications. Or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has therefore instructed as follows: Chanadapi sanichena, Tararapi sahishnuna, Amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind thinking himself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. So this is an issue we all have to deal with, because we all come from a very puffed up background that's called the material world. In the material world, even the pauper is proud of his penny, it's stated. We have a tendency to be very puffed up. I just received an email, actually, from one of my aspiring disciples in South America, Bhaktin Gilma. And she was saying, Gurudev, I have this problem. I have this ego problem. I'm very proud. How can I become humble? So it's a very important question that we all have to really learn how to develop humility. Prabhupada's a very good example of humility. Prabhupada said, even though it is said I've accomplished many wonderful things, I cannot take any credit whatsoever. For anything that I've done, it's all with the mercy of my spiritual master. He said, but if, he didn't even say it was definite, he said, but if it can be said I have any credit at all, it is that I always faithfully carried out the order given to me by my spiritual master. Prabhupada was not willing to take any credit at all, but if there was any credit, it would be that he was obedient to his spiritual master. That's all. So that's how you actually develop humility, just by following Prabhupada's example, you see. You never take the credit for being a great preacher, for doing this, or being a great pujari, or being a good cook, or anything you can do nicely that's appreciated, a kirtan leader, whatever you may do that's appreciated by the devotees. Oh, you did such a wonderful kirtan, or wonderful lecture. What I appreciate your mood of humility very much. Whenever you're appreciated, you should never take the credit. But one credit you can take is being obedient to your spiritual master. That's the one credit. So the point is, the more you feel personally unqualified, the more you feel unqualified, that is your qualification. So we should really feel unqualified to even feel unqualified. You understand? I'm so proud. I can't even. I think I'm. It's difficult for me to even feel I'm unqualified. Or I'm proudly thinking, yes, I'm feeling I'm unqualified. Yes, just see how humble I am, Prabhu. Maya is very tricky, you see. So we really just have to humble ourselves. I mean, I'm always praying to Prabhupada, to Krishna, to please help me, because I know I'm full of so many faults. I want to accomplish something for my spiritual master, but I know I'm not very qualified. So I have to keep begging and begging and begging, and please use me as an instrument. So this is the actual mood, you see. Arjuna put himself as an instrument in the hands of Krishna. Krishna, the devotee, likes to give the credit to Krishna. He doesn't want to take the credit for himself, but Krishna likes to give the credit to the devotee. That's the loving reciprocation. Prabhupada explains in one purport, Krishna likes to see his devotee of an episode of which Krishna himself is the doer. Krishna wants to see his devotee glorified as the hero. Devotee knows Krishna is really doing it. I'm just here as a puppet. Somehow Krishna is using me to accomplish something. That's what the devotee understands. But Krishna says, "Oh, you have done it," and he wants the devotee to be glorified, for having done it. So, how to get in that position where we can actually accomplish something wonderful for our spiritual master, for Srila Prabhupada, for this movement, you see. For that, we have to study Srila Prabhupada. He's the perfect example. Prabhupada, if you study that arrival prayer, it's one of the best places to study for the right mood of preaching. The mood Prabhupada had when he came to America. Very nice prayer, the arrival prayer. It's right there. It's there printed in many places. There, study Prabhupada's arrival prayer. He said, even though I've been designated Bhaktivedanta, I have no bhakti and I have no Vedanta. I have no devotion, I have no knowledge. But my dear Lord, I'm praying to you. I'm simply a puppet in your hands. You pull the strings. You make me dance. You make me dance. You make me dance as you like. You see, that is the mood. You simply put yourself in the hands of Krishna. Now I give up my independence. Now I'm simply a puppet in your hands from now and for all of eternity. In all times, all places, and all circumstances, with my every thought, my every word, and my every deed. Now, Krishna, you simply please use me as your instrument, and I'm praying that right now as I give this class. I'm begging Krishna, please use me as your instrument, that they can get the highest possible understanding and realization from this class, you see. So that's the mood we should always be in, whatever we're doing, you see. Please, my dear Lord, bless me. I can think, speak, and act in such a way that is always unlimitedly pleasing to you. That is pure bhakti. Now, in the beginning, we're very contaminated. We're lusty, we're angry, we're greedy. Therefore, we're unlucky. Our minds are agitated. We have so much dirt in our hearts. But if we'll enthusiastically take up this process of spiritual awakening, the magic happens. The metamorphosis takes place. The amazing transformations do happen. Krishna consciousness works. It's not just some hype. By this process, you will become qualified. As Prabhupada told me, he said, now you just become qualified to see Krishna face to face. This system that Prabhupada is giving, that ISKCON is teaching, will actually take you to the position where you can personally see God and personally reciprocate with God. Person to person. Prabhupada said Krishna you can eat with Krishna. Now we're feeding him, bowing down. You can eat with Krishna and dance with Krishna. You see, that stage is available. To come back into a loving personal relationship with your beloved Lord in his divine pastimes. Our pastimes here in Melbourne is just some temporary thing. This is not our eternal identities to be Melbourneites, or whatever they call you all. In Austin, we're Austinites. This is not your rasa, to be a Melbourneite, or an Aussie, or whatever, This is not the actual identity of self. You're eternal spiritual beings. You're Krishna's associates from the spiritual world. You're meant to come back to that identity, you see. You're meant to connect with identity now so you can have a profound, uplifting impact on the global consciousness. You see, each one of you is meant to be a guru, on the order of Lord Chaitanya, who can impact powerfully the global consciousness to elevate the consciousness of the human society. So let's look at that next verse. The next one is 7, 9, 13. Okay, we'll take a look over there. O my Lord, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma are sincere servants of your lordship, who are situated in a transcendental position. Therefore, they are not like us, Prahlad and his father, the demon Hiranyakashipu. Your appearance in this fearsome form is your pastime for your own pleasure. Such an incarnation is always meant for the protection and improvement of the universe. So Prahlad Maharaj is taking a very humble position. I'm in a demon family, like that. He's taking a very humble position. In 27, 9, 20, let's see what we got there. My dear Lord, Everyone in this material world is under the modes of material nature, being influenced by goodness, passion, and ignorance. Everyone from the greatest personality, Lord Brahma, down to the small ant, works under the influence of these modes. Therefore, everyone in this material world is influenced by your energy, the cause for which they work, the place where they work, the time when they work, the matter due to which they work, the goal of life they have considered final, and the process for obtaining this goal. All are nothing but manifestations of your energy. Indeed, since the energy and energetic are identical, all of them are but manifestations of you. So, here we are, we're all under the modes of nature. So if I'm under the modes of nature, then how can I think to liberate others from the modes of nature? If I'm under the modes of nature myself, that's the question. Now we'll look at another way that we're influenced, we're being overpowered by the material nature. This is text 22 in chapter 9. My dear Lord, O Supreme Great, you have created this world of 16 constituents, but you are transcendental to their material qualities. In other words, these material qualities are under your full control and you are never conquered by them. Therefore, the time element is your representation. My Lord, O Supreme, no one can conquer you. As for me, however, I am being crushed by the wheel of time, and therefore I surrender fully unto you. Now kindly take me under the protection of your lotus feet. So how can someone who's being crushed by time act as a liberator of others, you could ask. You see? That's another way of looking at it. Here's in 7:9:28. See what we got here. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant Narada Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I ever leave his service? So this is a very important point now. We're in the acceptance of a spiritual master. As I look back on my own history in this connection, when the young people, they go to college, they pick out their career, right? So that's your thing, the normal thing you do. You go to college, pick out a career. So I couldn't relate to any of the careers. I couldn't relate to any of them. I finally thought, well, because I attended one theatrical production, to me, and I was captivated by the magic of the theatrical performance. I was carried into another world. So that, well, I'm pretty miserable, but at least if I go into drama, I can enter into an imaginary world, of so-called happiness. So then I went to the drama school in Austin, Texas, University of Texas, famous drama school in that university. But I found there that I wasn't very satisfied because you couldn't be yourself. One day they asked me, a student said, well, how are you doing? I said, well, I'm really depressed. And they said, don't say that. You got to put on the act. Oh yeah, I'm doing great. I wanted to be honest and real. And I was told I had an act. Even in my ordinary life, I had to put on an act. So I couldn't relate to the career paths. So I decided just to renounce the whole thing, just go to India, be a mendicant, one of those beggars, in the holy place, Give up everything and just go to India and be a mendicant, holy beggar. And I was on my way to do that, actually. I'd packed up all my belongings to my parents' house. I was spending my last Christmas at home before I headed out for India. And but one night I had this realization, because I was denying the material world. It's like the Gyanis, they do this neti, deny this, deny that, deny everything of this material, deny. And that way they try to achieve liberation by denying everything in this material world. So that was my mood, to deny. So one night I had a profound realization, and it was so profound I wrote it on a piece of paper, and I remember the exact words that I wrote down. I denied and I denied until I could deny no longer, and then I had to start accepting. In other words, if you deny everything, you have to ultimately deny denial also. So then you have to go into another realm of acceptance, which is beyond the material plane. So at that point, I realized the only purpose for my life would be to make a spiritual revolution on this planet. That's the only thing else that made sense, because the whole world was screwed up. So I tried to do that, and I was a complete failure, because I wasn't qualified, you see. You can't make a revolution if you're not revolutionized first. So after about 2.5 years of trying to make a revolution through my songwriting, I realized that I was a complete wreck personally, and I needed to get myself together. So at that point I became a disciple of Prabhupada, you see. So I went through this whole thing of, save yourself or save the world. I tried to save the world without saving myself. It didn't work. But you have nothing to teach anyone. I had this vision of God's presence everywhere, but I didn't know how to make a practical reality out of it, you see. How to make it practical. Because I wasn't purified by taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. But then once finding that shelter of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, that changed everything, you see. Once you actually take shelter of, just like a mother the other day, she asked me at the program, she says, how can I train my children to be Krishna conscious? I said, well, you have to be a disciple. You have to have a guru. If you want to be a guru for your kid, you have to have your guru also, you see. You can't be a guru or a teacher unless you're a student of a guru or a teacher, you see. She was very impressed. I don't know if she's here tonight, but she was very impressed with that advice. If you want to be proper, you want to be a guru or a mentor, someone who can actually guide your child how to become Krishna conscious, you have to have a guru also. You can't be a guru without having a guru, you see. I tried to do it, and I couldn't do it, you see. I tried to be a guru without having a guru. You can't do it. It's not possible. Lord Chaitanya orders become guru, but you can't do that unless you have a guru, you see. This is the point. So the first step is take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. And then by acting as a representative of the spiritual master, just as Prabhupada acted as a representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, then you can actually have the potency of the entire disciplic succession acting through you, which is extremely powerful. And if you don't really know how to verbalize it so well, just distribute the books. It's the same benefit. Go out and distribute the books, you see. That potency, that way you act as a potent messenger of all the acharyas, you see. Or just go on Hare Nam, sing and dance in ecstasy in downtown Melbourne. And you can act as a channel for all the acharyas to act through you, to uplift the global consciousness. You see. So these are very wonderful topics, actually. Let's look at the next verse. 7:9:39. What's our cutoff time, by the way? 9. 9? Okay. 7:9:39. Are they going to ask questions tonight also? There's papers? Okay. The papers are passed around? Okay. If you have any questions on the subject matter, jot them down as we're talking. 7:9:39. Being sometimes so-called happy and sometimes so-called distressed. My mind is full of lamentation and fear, and it always seeks more and more money. Thus it has become most polluted and is never satisfied in topics concerning you. I am therefore most fallen and poor in such a status of life. How shall I be able to discuss your activities? Well, that sounds like a lot of us, doesn't it? Worry about making money, always being bounced around by happiness and distress. I mean, it really sounds like well, I'm sure that hits a lot of us right there. Oh yeah, I know what they're talking about. So that's encouragement for us that even these great personalities go through this. You see, so if they went through it and got beyond it, even though we're going through it now, we can also get beyond it. So it's a great encouragement for us to read such verses. Let's see what our notes said on it. Yeah. Yeah. No, the next one is recommended, text 40, chapter 9. My dear Lord, O infallible one, my position is like that of a person who has many wives, all trying to attract him in their own way. For example, the tongue is attracted to palatable dishes, the genitals to sex with an attractive woman, and the sense of touch to the contact with soft things. The belly, although filled, still wants to eat more, and the ear, not attempting to hear about you, is generally attracted to cinema songs. The sense of smell is attracted to yet another side. The restless eyes are attracted to scenes of sense gratification, and the active senses are attracted elsewhere. In this way, I am certainly embarrassed. Talk about honest. It's really honest. I mean, I think we can relate, all of us can relate to this. Because, if you really look at your dirty mind, you can say, yeah, a pretty good description of what goes on in my head sometimes, you see. So, in such an unqualified position, how can we be a representative of God? You understand? This is the dilemma. In such a condition, how you can be God's representative? Act as God's representative. Okay. All right, then one more here. For tonight, be recommended to read text 41. My dear Lord, you're always transcendently situated on the other side of the river of death. But because of the reactions of our own activities, we are suffering on this side. Indeed, we have fallen into this river and are repeatedly suffering the pains of birth and death and eating horrible things. Now kindly look upon us, not only upon me, but also upon all others who are suffering, and by your causeless mercy and compassion, deliver us and maintain us. Wow, just see the Prahlad Maharaj's moon. He's not asking only for his liberation. He's praying that fools and rascals like us can also become delivered, you see. So that means if I'm becoming delivered, it's also by the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj as well. It's Prabhupada's mercy, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's mercy. Prahlad Maharaj also has prayed for our deliverance. And Krishna hears the prayers of such pure devotees. So we have to thank Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj ki jai! By his prayer, we're being blessed with Krishna consciousness. So, here we are, unqualified rascals, caught up in sense gratification, trying to somehow or other bring these rascal senses under control, the eyes, the ears, the tongue, the belly, the genitals. Our present position is called Godas, the servant of the senses. The position we're meant to come to, that is called Goswami, one who mastered the senses. So how does that Goswami become that Godas, become a Goswami? That's why you take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. That's why you follow the instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita and the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. This will transform you from a Godas, a servant of your senses, into a Goswami, a master of the senses. So, of course, there's the old standard question, what's in it for me? I mean, do I make more money? Do I become famous? Do I get a beautiful woman? What do I get out of doing all this, you see? Well, the real thing is this. You get to re-establish your original pure consciousness, a loving relationship with God. That far exceeds by millions and billions of times anything you could ever achieve in this material world. You see? Whether you became a famous politician, or became a beetle, or whatever. The bug, the beetle. Whatever position you might have in the material world, nothing compares to developing pure love of God within the heart. So we have to be convinced of this, that no material accomplishment stands anywhere close to the accomplishment of developing love of God. This whole life that we're living right now, it's like that. We just go this body, that body, this body, that body. We've been transmigrating since time immemorial through the 8,400,000 species, sometimes a demigod, sometimes a germ, sometimes a bird, a plant, a fish, a beast, a human being, a white-bodied human being, a black-bodied human being, a male human, a female human, an Indian, a Chinese, an American, just a poor, a wealthy, a healthy, a diseased, a blind person, a deaf person, we've gone all through these things by the law of karma. We're going through all these changes of body. But we can never actually be satisfied because this is not us. It's not our actual identity. We continue to suffer because we continue to misidentify ourselves with these material bodies. We have to come out of the foolishness of material consciousness. We have to come out of the idiocy of bodily consciousness and realize Jivara Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nichadas. The constitutional position of the living entity is that he is the eternal servant of Krishna. He's a spiritual spark, qualitatively one with the Lord. He has nothing to do with the material body except to engage it either in sense gratification, which keeps him entangled, or to engage it in the service of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which liberates him. So, back to the title, Saving Oneself or Saving the World, the Preacher's Dilemma. Actually, we will go into it more tomorrow night, but actually, there's really not a dilemma, you see. Because when you save yourself by taking shelter of Guru and Krishna, fully surrendering to Guru and Krishna, you automatically become empowered to save the world. And if you're very sincere to save the world, then and you really find out what it was required to save the world, then you will find out you have to save yourself first. So you can't do one without the other. You can't say, well, I'll just save myself and the hell with the world. No. One who is actually Vaishnava, who is actually Krishna conscious, his heart bleeds to see the suffering going on, to see every day. Do you know how many babies are being murdered every day on this planet? Every day, 66,000 innocent children are killed through the abortion process. Can you imagine? You see that in the news? If 20 people are killed in a terrorist attack in Sydney, that's big news, right? 20 people? How many people were killed in Sydney? Maybe 20? That's huge news. 20 people were killed in Sydney in a terrorist attack. Why don't they report 66,000 babies were murdered today? No, that's okay. You can kill the babies, it's okay. I mean, they're just babies, I mean, how atrocious is the world situation? Someone who actually awakens their Krishna consciousness, they're in anguish. And I met Ani Rudaprabhu at the top of the stairs yesterday. He said, how's it going? I said, it's pretty bad. 66,000 babies were killed today. Things are going pretty bad right now. And how many innocent animals are slaughtered every day? 156 million innocent animals are slaughtered every day. Tell me there's no karmic reaction from that. Prabhupada told us that the Vietnam War was a karmic reaction for cow killing. You send your mother to the slaughterhouse, now send your son to the slaughterhouse. They tried to send me also to get slaughtered in Vietnam, the U.S. government. But I played some tricks and got out of it. They called me up to the induction center, you know. Okay, boy, we send you out to Vietnam, you know. So you fill out this form, sign the paper, and report for duty, you know. So I put down I'm psychologically unfit. So immediately they sent me to the psychiatrist. So I got there, I sat face to face with the psychiatrist. I'm not going to repeat the words I actually said, I'll give you an idea what I said. I said, blank the army. You can imagine what I said. I was like this far away, and I pounded in the face, and went, blank the army, blank the army, blank the army, like that. Well, I got out of it and be going to Vietnam. That way I saved my skin and I had to go there and be killed in Vietnam. Actually, 6 months later, they called me back again to see if I was still determined. And this time, they sent me to a civilian psychologist. And he played a different tactic with me. He said, "You're sane, aren't you?" And he asked me to be honest, and I was. I said, "Yes, I am, but I just don't want to go kill." He said, "I'll see if I can do it to help you." It was amazing. He was actually an anti-war person working for the government. He had gone to Vietnam as a psychologist. He saw what was happening to all the boys, how they were messed up, getting killed, psychologically messed up. So he was actually an anti-war sympathizer working for the government. He said, "I'll see what I can do to help you." He gave me the best deferment. You can get a 4F deferment. The whole life I was freed from military service. So many of my contemporaries, they went to Vietnam, they got killed. You see, so many boys were killed there. But this was karma for all the cows we were killing, you see, in the slaughterhouse. Therefore, the boys have to also go. So the point is, the devotee of the Lord, when he sees all of these atrocities against the innocent animals, the innocent babies, and all this madness going on, you see, he can't tolerate this. Therefore, he has to think, what can I do to change the world situation? How can I convince people to become Krishna conscious? He's burning with this desire. I have to do something, you see. That's a natural sentiment if one has actually become awakened in Krishna consciousness. So it's not really a dilemma. So you say, well, when am I qualified to preach? In the old days, someone moved in a temple, they immediately sent him out on book distribution the first day. And actually, when I moved into the temple, some TV station wanted someone to come. So they sent me immediately to go to preach on a live show on TV about Krishna consciousness. I just moved in. I go out on television. But we were so enthusiastic, you see. We were so enthusiastic. Yes! We had the save the world mood. I joined with Vishnu John Swami, and he was really into the save the world, spread the movement mood. He was a traveling sannyasi. And we all have that mood. Yeah. All right, yes, go there and preach. You see. Prabhupada said, preach to the world. That's the order he gave, you see. Prabhupada said, go village to village. There's the term Sanskrit, Digvijay, means who conquers in all directions. Digvijay Pandit. So Prabhupada said, go village to village, town to town, and make Digvijay. That there is God. I can prove there is God. Who are you who say there is no God? Come on. That was how Prabhupada taught us to preach. That kind of power, you see. So how can you preach that way? You're spaced out. You try to chant your japa. You can't even focus because you're thinking about going to sleep. You're thinking about going to eat. And you want to go out and preach. It seems contradictory. It could seem contradictory. How you can go out and preach powerfully when you can't even chant good japa, you see. So how do you balance it? The thing is, they actually help each other. Your japa may not be perfect. You'll do your best you can. Your preaching may not be perfect. You do the best you can, and they feed into each other. By going out to preach, your japa will become better. By trying to make your japa better, your preaching become better. So they feed into each other. Even though both of them are imperfect, you try your best in your sadhana, you try your best in your preaching, and you keep doing both of them, and they help each other, they enhance each other. Let's see. So this is it's not really a dilemma. We're imperfect on both sides. As we sing in the Nishinga prayers, as we heard them tonight before the lecture began, Bahir Nasinga Hridaye Nasinga. Bahir Nasinga means Krishna consciousness externally, making the world Krishna conscious. That's the meaning of Bahir Nasinga. Make the world Krishna conscious. Hridaye Nasinga, may I become a pure devotee within my heart, you see. Actually, we're all praying, may I now make the world Krishna conscious, and may I now become a completely purified devotee. Whenever you sing Bahir Nasinga, Hridaye Nasinga, that's what you're praying, whether you knew it or not. You're begging to be an instrument who can Krishnaize the entire world when you sing Bahir Nasinga, and you're begging for complete total purity of heart when you sing Hridaye Nasinga. Prabhupada explains this in his purport. I think it's a reference for tomorrow night's lecture, that particular verse in the 5th canto. So it's a simple thing. Bahir Nasinga, Hridaye Nasinga. May I become completely pure so that I can bring peace to the entire world. That's how Prabhupada explains it. The devotee wants to make the whole world Krishna conscious, and he begs, therefore, that he can become Krishna conscious so that he can be empowered to make the whole world Krishna conscious. So now we can take some questions. If you cleared your mind, what do you think is the next step? If you heard your mind or cleared your mind, if you cleaned your mind. The very first step in this process given by Rupa Goswami is to sadhusanga is the second step. You have to have faith, shraddha. The first step is to have faith in this process. To have faith that there is a God, there is a merciful God who wants me to come back to Him, and I have the facility is there that I can revive my loving relationship with Him. I just have to take it up. So to have faith in that, there is a God who loves me and who wants to save me from all of my suffering, that's the beginning. And then you associate with like-minded souls who also want to establish their loving relationship with God. And then you take a spiritual master and you follow his instructions. In this way the process unfolds. Does our soul have a body in the spiritual world, as we have in the material world? Yes and no. You do have a body. You have a spiritual body. But it's not like the one you have here. It has two eyes. It has, just like Krishna has a body, you have a body also. Everyone is embodied in the spiritual world. Actually, everyone is a human, but some humans take other forms to serve in different capacities, just like Kalindi. The goddess Kalindi takes the form of a river. Every single living entity in the spiritual world, even the peacocks and the cuckoos, they're all, even Krishna's devotee is a human being who takes that form to serve Krishna in that way. Everything in the spiritual world is a person. So you do have a body, but it never gets sick, it never gets old, it's eternally youthful. Trees are in the mode of ignorance. Then why many people worship the banyan tree? The banyan tree, that's an interesting question. I know Prabhupada, I asked Prabhupada specifically about the banyan tree, because in our Miami temple, we had a banyan tree in the yard, a beautiful banyan tree. And I asked Prabhupada about worshiping the banyan tree, and he told me how to worship, offering the, I think he said offer the incense. I forget the exact what he told me, but Prabhupada authorized us to worship the banyan tree. Why it's considered sacred? I don't know. Do you know why? We know from the scriptures. So I don't know the details on it. We never actually began, even though we had banyan in the yard, we never actually instituted banyan tree worship in our temple. We were too busy worshiping Tulsi. But we could have. We could have, because Prabhupada personally told me in the letter. Actually, I asked the temple president, and he asked Prabhupada, and he answered it in the letter to the temple president about worshiping the banyan tree. Prabhupada authorized us to worship the banyan tree. Okay. Your material, let's see. You mentioned our mood should be to know we are so unqualified, but with this unqualified mood, how does one know when he is ready for Brahman initiation? Well, the more you feel unqualified, that's your qualification. You have your authorities, you see. You can ask them, Prabhu, do you think I'm ready for Brahman initiation? Ask someone else. And what way do you think I'm not ready, so I can become ready? Sometimes I even know what I am doing is not good to my spiritual life, but I still do it. Even though I try to control myself, then how do I stop it? Well, if you're really having too hard of a time, you ask you have a devotee who you can confide in, who knows what you're going through, who can advise you. That can help you. Just like I have many people write me, they tell me things they don't tell anybody else. I used to see what I get in my emails sometimes. Controlling their lusty their desires. They honestly tell me. They don't even tell the other devotees. They write me an email because I'm far away from their temple. They tell me what they're going through, and I try to advise them. So you have to be honest with yourself. If you're having difficulty, you should admit it. And you should try just begging Krishna to help you. And intensely beg Krishna to help you.
Prabhupada says human means controlled senses.
Human means controlled senses? Yeah, human life means you control your senses. If you're acting against scriptural injunctions, you're on the animal platform. You're on the animal platform. So you have to learn how to become a human being. Prabhupada told me also in one letter, disciple means discipline. If you can't discipline yourself, you're not even a disciple. Disciple means you control your senses. You don't let your senses control you. You don't let your mind control you. You have your mind and your senses under your control. So you be the master of your senses. Do not be the servant of your senses. You have to have this determination and beg Krishna to help you, because we are very weak. But Krishna has unlimited power. The spiritual master also has limited power. So you pray to your spiritual master, you pray to Krishna, please give me the power to control these senses. You beg, intensely beg, and the magic will happen. What are the qualities of a preacher? Trinadapi sanichena tararapi sahishnena amanina manadena kirtani sadahari. He thinks himself lower than the straw in the street. He's more tolerant than a tree. He respects all, gives all respect to others without expecting even the slightest respect for himself. In such a state of mind, he can preach to the whole world. I don't feel the compassion for the people in general. Well, then you just serve the instructions of the one who does feel the compassion. Prabhupada feels the compassion. You see, if you don't feel the compassion, just serve the one who has the compassion. He says, go on Harinam, go on book distribution. Tell your friends about Krishna. Tell your neighbors tell the whole world about Krishna. Prabhupada has the compassion. Actually, here in Melbourne, there's a Leela of Prabhupada in the morning walk. Did you know that Leela? He was in the morning walk and he saw the commuters on Monday morning. The Monday morning Melbourne commuters, Prabhupada was crying to see the hellish, nightmarish lives they were living, these Melbourneites. So if you don't have the compassion, just be a servant of Prabhupada's compassion, you see. And by doing that, your own compassion will manifest. Humility is the natural quality of advanced devotees. How do neophyte devotees feel humble even if you naturally don't feel like them? Well, you have to realize you're a neophyte. You have to see how puffed up you actually are, and and that way you can become humble, by realizing how puffed up you actually are. That's how you develop humility. Realize what a puffed up rascal you actually are. As Prabhupada said, I have no knowledge, I have no devotion. And therefore I'm begging you, please just make me dance as you like. You have to realize, I don't have any love for Krishna. Lord Chaitanya said, I do not have any love for Krishna. If I had any love for Krishna, I would immediately leave my body in the pain of separation from Krishna. Lord Chaitanya said he has no love for Krishna. So what is our position? Oh yeah, I really love Krishna. You see what I'm saying? The more you feel you have no love for Krishna, you have no Krishna consciousness, now you're starting to become Krishna conscious. This is the secret. The more you can feel you're absolutely bereft of Krishna consciousness, you're just an idiot, a rascal drowning in the ocean of material sense gratification. Look at Bhaktivedanta Thakur's song, Gopinath. Gopinath, Mamani Vedana Shuno, Vishayi Durjana, Sada Kamarata, Kichu Nahi Moraguna, Gopinath. Gopinath. My dear Lord Gopinath, I'm a materialistic rascal. I'm always full of lust. If you examine me, Kichu Nahi Modaguna, you will see I have no good qualities at all. Nahi. Good qualities? Nahi. Kichu Nahi Modaguna. I'm absolutely, totally bereft of any good qualities. Bhaktivedanta Thakur. If that's Bhaktivedant's mood, what should my mood be? You understand? So just try to learn extreme humility within your heart. Try to cultivate extreme humility like Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Not just, casual, social humility, but extreme, intense humility within your heart. I find it really hard to control the urge to speak my mind, which always brings problems. Well, why don't you become Krishna conscious? And then you can speak to the whole world. Make your mind Krishna conscious, and then you can speak to the whole world. You see? We have no problem if you want to speak, but just become Krishna conscious. And then you can go on and speak to the whole world. Make the whole world Krishna conscious. We're happy to have speakers around here. You like to talk? Great. You join the right movement. Become Krishna conscious and talk to everybody. Go downtown and give everybody a book. You see? Go on the radio, go on television, go on the YouTube. Give lectures and put them on YouTube. Just, the whole world is waiting out there. We need to flood Facebook and YouTube with more and more Krishna Katha. If you're too shy, just do it in your room on a camera. Put it on YouTube. You know what I mean? Let's bombard the whole world with Krishna consciousness. You see? What is the best way of controlling this? Well, you just have to be Krishna conscious, and then there's no problem. Actually, it's interesting. Prabhupada was walking with one of his disciples on Venice Beach. He said, whether I speak or you speak, it's the same thing. Can you imagine Prabhupada's humility? He said, whether you bite off the sweet on this side or that side, it's still the same thing. You see? So we want all of our devotees to be preachers. In fact, little Saraswati, the first baby child born in our movement was Saraswati, the daughter of Shyamasundar of Malati. They were there in India, in Vrindavan, with a little girl, Saraswati, and she would preach. She approached some gentleman, she would say, do you know who is Krishna? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. A little girl, she would preach like that, you see. So if you know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are qualified to go out and enlighten the illusioned people of this planet. You're qualified. Okay, put that back on the thing there. A preacher should be very good at presenting the philosophy, and that is a talent, but I do not have, so how can I reach that stage? By practice, 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 practice. How do you become a good anything? A good, somebody plays tennis, how they get good? They practice. Somebody plays the guitar excellently, how do they get good? They practice. The only way to be a good preacher is to practice. You have to study so you know what to say, and then you have to go out and practice. I was very fortunate. Krishna blessed me with a golden opportunity to practice preaching. When I went to our temple in Gainesville, there was a wonderful facility there. It was a big campus, the University of Florida. There was a place called the Plaza of the Americas, where Prabhupada had actually come and given a lecture. It was a holy place, purified by the lotus feet of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. So my temple president sent me out there to take prasadam every day and preach to the students. It was a golden opportunity. It was such a ripe field. The first day I went out with a harmonium and a bowl of Simply Wonderfuls. I made a devotee in 5 minutes. One boy named Steve, he sat down with me and heard the harmonium playing. I gave him a Simply, and he dropped out of school and became a brahmachari in the temple. The first day, just sitting down in 5 minutes, I made a devotee. It was amazing. So it was very, very ripe time when the hippie movement was flowering, and there was all these kids looking for higher knowledge and spiritual enlightenment. It was really a profound time. So for 3 years, I went out every day with a lunch, and I preached, and we made so many devotees. It was just wonderful. So then what happened was, when I first joined, we have all the MP3s now. We can all hear the MP3 lectures of Prabhupada, right? In those days, there was no MP3. There was not even cassettes. The only thing you could do, if somebody had a reel-to-reel machine, you could hear lectures on the reel-to-reel, but this is not very practical. You can't carry it with you when you're walking around. But then, just when I joined, cassette tapes were introduced to the market. But then by 1973, I think it was, they started the Bhaktivedanta tape ministry in Los Angeles. And they would have the devotee going and recording, and then you would get all the latest tapes that just came out. In other words, 3 days ago, Prabhupada spoke on the beach, and now you're hearing it. You have it in your own little cassette player, and you're hearing Prabhupada, but he said last week. So we subscribed, and we were getting a nice packet of cassette tapes every week to our Gainesville temple. But we had one problem. We were so busy doing service, where's the time to sit down and study the tapes? Well, I had an idea. Well, I don't need to eat that much, I would skip lunch every day. I would sit in the Brahmacharya ashram. I had it all to myself during lunch prasadam, and I would just sit. Instead of eating lunch, I would sit and study those tapes. Have a nice breakfast and skip lunch. And I would listen to those tapes, and then after that I went to the campus. And I would take what Prabhupada had said on Venice Beach, and I would say it to the students on the campus, and I would see the magic happen. I would take Prabhupada's exact words, take it out to the campus an hour later, and tell the students just what I heard Prabhupada say, and it was powerful. So that's the key. You have to, when you're driving down the street, hear a lecture, you see. I remember Tamal Krishna Goswami, I was one time living just next to him in his quarters in Dallas. And I would see when he would go for his morning shower, shaving, brushing the teeth, he would have a lecture of Prabhupada on his cassette player. He would hear a lecture while he was doing his morning shaving and teeth brushing and showering. He would listen to a lecture. And another thing I learned from him, I was standing with him when he was offering obeisances to Radha Kalachandji in Dallas. And he said that by taking the darshan of the deities, I get intelligence. So here's the key. When you come to when you take the darshan of Prabhupada, you have to take Prabhupada deep into your heart. You have the darshan of Gaurnitai, your deities here, Radha, Madhav?
Radha Vallabha.
Radha Ballava. Take the darshan deep into your heart. Deep, deep, deep into your heart. You see, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. Take that darshan deep into your heart. And then whatever opportunity you have to read, to study, Krishna Katha, just take it as much as you possibly can. And then when you have the opportunity to preach, you'll have the inspiration, you'll have the words, you'll have the potency, everything will be there. And then practice that as much as you possibly can, every chance you get. And you will develop as a preacher. That's a fact. You will develop and become a powerful preacher in due course. We need a whole army of powerful preachers. We want all of you to become powerful preachers. The kids, the senior citizens, everyone. We want you all to become powerful preachers who can get out there and liberate the fallen souls of this planet. Okay. By the mercy of the Lord, I am a good preacher and strictly follow all the regulated principles in all circumstances. But my misfortune is that I am not enthusiastic to get up for Mangal Arti. What kind of... You say you think you're a good preacher if you don't get up for Mangal Arti? I say you're a rotten preacher. You're not an Acharya. You're not setting the example. You have to become ideal, you see. You have to become ideal. So when I visit the dhams, can you please advise how I can work on this? Well, there's some of us are very heavy sleepers, actually. You know, we're very tamasic, especially when we're asleep. It's like you have to shake them and they don't wake up, you know. Well, here's one little trick that I do, because I'm a heavy sleeper as well. You take your smartphone, you know, it's like mine is set for like 2 a.m., you know. You go 2 o'clock, 2:01, 2:02, 2:03. In this way, you know. Or maybe if 2 o'clock, then you have 2:30 or 2:31, or you know. You just have to understand. You have to be honest and realize you're tamasic. Like some of us are tamasic. I'm really tamasic, and I need an extra push. So you have to arrange it so you get that extra push. You see. So you know, if 2 o'clock doesn't work, 2:01 will. Maybe and you can on the iPhone you can put some kirtan also, some music, your favorite kirtan, a really rousing kirtan. Have that come on at 2 o'clock in the morning. You see, instead of just beep beep beep, a really rousing kirtan, you know, that makes the roof blow off, you know. So you have to understand your limitations, and you have to work on that. I know you have that problem, you see, getting up from Mangal Arti. So you have to pray to Krishna also to help you, and you have to go to bed early and don't eat a huge amount of prasadam before you take rest. There's certain things you can do. It's like for me, I don't like the word dinner, for example. Dinner is not part of my vocabulary, dinner. Breakfast and lunch, fine. Evening, I don't call it, dinner. Dinner doesn't exist in my vocabulary. I don't take dinner. Dinner to me means sinner. Because you're eating a big meal at night. You can't get up early in the morning if you have a big... Of course, if you're working all day, it's another thing. But I don't work all day. You know, if you're working all day and you have to have a dinner at night because the only full meal... it may not apply to you. I'm just talking about my own situation. You know, so the point is, I want us to be careful not to eat a lot at night. Don't overeat at night.
Doesn't it depend on one's own determination?
Also depends on your determination. That's the thing. I know Vishnu Jana Swami. Some people they can take a big feast, they just go to sleep. But he would take a huge feast and you get up and do a rousing kirtan. Vishnu Jana Swami. So it depends on your determination also. If you're really determined, the real thing is determination. So then who is the great Acharya of determination? The little sparrow. Everybody knows the little sparrow? Not everyone knows. So there was a little sparrow, and the mean, nasty ocean stole the sparrow's eggs. the mother is very attached to her children, so the little sparrow was absolutely distraught. She asked the ocean to return the eggs. The ocean said, "No way, I'm not giving you your eggs back." So little sparrow is very, very determined that I will dry up that rascal ocean, one drop at a time. She went down to the ocean. She would take 1 or 2 drops in her beak. She would run back to the land, deposit the drops, and then go back for more. And this way, running back and forth. Everybody's laughing. "Oh, that stupid little bird. She's going to run herself to death. Ha, 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 ha." Well, there was, the birds. There's one of the bird family. There's one, the big brother of all the birds. What is his name? Garuda. He was not laughing when he found out how his little sister was being tortured by the ocean and all the other people that were helping her out. He became very, very angry, and he came flying in on Garuda Airlines. And he came to that ocean. He said, "You better return those eggs right now, or I'm going to dry you up." And that ocean immediately returned the eggs. Yeah, so you have to be determined, like that little sparrow, that I'm going to get up from Mangal Arati. I'm going to get up from Mangal Arati. To be very determined. And, if you don't have the determination, well, you can go back to God in your next lifetime, Prabhu. You have to have the determination. If you're not at the temple, you should have a Mangal Arati at home. That's the standard in Vedic civilization. The temple is a replica of what you're supposed to be doing at home also. You can do a little dupe arti even, 5-minute dupe arti, incense and a flower. And throw a ghee wick in too. And you can sing Gravastakam prayers every morning. So that will empower you to become Krishna conscious and to be a powerful representative of Krishna. You say, "Well, how can I preach? I go to the office." Well, bring prasadam to the office at least once a week. Bring the most fabulous carob chip, walnut cookies you could ever imagine baking, and put it in the break room. Offer to Krishna. Put it in the break room for all the co-workers. I'll be waiting for those cookie day. You see. What I did in my offices, I used to work for MCI Corporation, and to get a job, you grow your hair out a little bit, You have your tie and your collar over your neck beads. You go in and get hired, right? So I got a little tired of playing the undercover game, One day I said, "This is it. I wore tilak to work, So I was pretty fired up today. I'd been in a lot of sales. So I got my tilak on and yeah. I was real fired up. And my boss, he gets a commission on my sales. And I was doing a lot of extra sales that day. And he was like watching me the whole day. And at the end of the day, he said, "Mr. Bridge," that's my Karmi name, Bridge. He said, "Mr. Bridge, I don't know what that is on your forehead, but from now on, you must wear it every day." So, the more you can preach Krishna consciousness. And there's also the story that Prabhupada tells. There was one factory, owned by a devotee or a Hindu or a Muslim, something like that, Vaishnava. So everybody is wearing tilak. And then a Muslim buys the factory, right? He calls all the workers and he said, "Tomorrow, no one wears tilak here. If you want your job, don't wear tilak when you come to work tomorrow." So one devotee who just couldn't go without tilak, he came with his tilak in defiance of the order of the boss. The boss called him in and said, "Why are you wearing tilak?" I said, "No." He said, "What can I do? This is my duty. I have to wear tilak it's my service to the Lord." He said, "Okay, you can wear tilak, but nobody else." So I'm not saying you should wear tilak to your job here in Melbourne, but the point is you have to be determined to be always Krishna conscious. I don't care if you're in a karmi atmosphere. You have to maintain your Krishna consciousness. Because I know one godbrother of mine, all he did was he put a Bhagavad Gita in his cubicle, a little Bhagavad Gita. He had it sitting there. So one co-worker, he was interested. "Oh, what is that book you have there?" Some boy named Randy. He was very curious. "What is that book you have there?" He said, "Oh, this is Bhagavad Gita. It tells Krishna is talking about how to become a liberated soul, get out of the material world." So Randy was very interested. Randy became initiated devotee simply because Naveen Krishna Prabhu put a Bhagavad Gita on his desk at work. He didn't even preach, he let the book sit there. That's all he did. Just by having a book sitting there, he made a devotee. So you have to have that kind of a mood. That revolutionary, save the world mood should be there in everyone's heart. 24 hours a day in all times, places, and circumstances. That's how we're going to take over the world in 18 days that Prabhupada said we could do. If we all develop that intense mood, save the world mood, then we can do it. So I was asked in a class, well, what's the balance between saving yourself and saving the world? I said, well, from 4 a.m. to, this is for temple devotees especially, but from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., save yourself. From 9 to 5, save the world. And from 5 to 9, save yourself. You have that time. I save the self time and save the world time. So we do both. We have certain times of the day we focus on saving ourselves. Certain times of the day we focus on saving the world. That's how we balance it out. You see. Maybe if you're working, well, it's called the weekend warriors. During the week, you focus on saving yourself. On the weekend, you focus on saving the world. Or, going out and doing preaching programs, Harinam, or whatever it may be. So let's see if we have any more questions, and then we can wrap it up. Yeah.
When we talk about little Saraswati, about little Saraswati, he goes and tells the people, but she's innocent. She doesn't have any bad habits.
Yes.
But then when we go with that little knowledge, and somebody inquires us, we do not know the answers. How can we preach?
How can we preach if we don't know the answers? The thing is, if you're really sincere of wanting to help these people become Krishna conscious, Krishna will give you within your heart the answers. That was my experience on that campus. You go out on a limb for Lord Chaitanya will cover for you. That's a fact. You put yourself, go out on a limb for Lord Chaitanya, and all of a sudden there it comes.
At the same time, we have so many bad habits and so many things.
So we have to be always sincerely working on those bad habits also, because the more we become, just like for example, Prabhupada wrote me one letter. Prabhupada actually told me I could aspire to become Jagad Guru, if you can imagine, in this letter. He told me it was a spiritual desire to become Jagad Guru. He encouraged me. It's a spiritual desire, the deliverer of the whole world. But then he said, but you have to become free from sex desire. He said, what is speak of sex desire? No desire for karma, jnana, or yoga. All material desires, zero. So we have to be understanding our disqualification. We have to be begging Krishna to help me become the pure devotee. So if you have that mood of begging Krishna to help you overcome all your anarthas, please, my dear Lord, as we pray, Hridayena Singha, please completely purify my heart. Then the Bahirna Singha becomes potent and powerful. If you're not in the mood of purifying your heart, Hridayena Singha, there's no question of Bahirna Singha. You understand? You can't, we see actually in our movement, historically, there were some devotees who were huge successful preachers. They may open so many temples, distributed so many books, collected so much money, and then they left Krishna consciousness because they were simply focusing Bahirna Singha, spreading Krishna consciousness. They weren't giving equal or greater importance to awakening their own Krishna consciousness. And therefore they're gone. The history of ISKCON showed so many big sannyasis, big GBCs, gurus even, they're gone in the history of ISKCON. I know so many godbrothers, they're big GBC, gurus, sannyasis, they're gone, finished, you see. They were doing big preaching, but they weren't being very heavy to overcome their own anarthas within their heart. They weren't intensely praying for pure bhakti within their hearts. And because of that, they fell down. So they were what we call flash in the pans, you see. We don't want flash in the pan preachers. The key is you have to intensely beg for pure devotional service. Well, where's the time to do that? That's your japa. Your japa is your time for intensely begging Krishna to bless you with pure love of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if you intensely beg for pure devotional service, then you're qualified to try to give Krishna consciousness to the whole world. That's the point. So we have some couple of more questions here. We're going to end in about 2 or 3 minutes. Some enlightened masters say and know that if the veil of Maya or ego lifts up or dies, you become enlightened. And the question is, how does one lift it up, and what is holding us back? The problem is we are trying to be the enjoyers. That's the problem. Instead of trying to be the enjoyers, our position is to serve the supreme enjoyer, Krishna. So you have to transfer the enjoying propensity into a serving propensity. Instead of trying to be the enjoyer, you try to serve the supreme enjoyer. That's the secret of success. Are there other enlightened beings or masters in Melbourne or Australia or in Australia? One time it was asked, the devotee said, Prabhupada, how many pure devotees are there in ISKCON? How many pure devotees are there on the planet? Prabhupada said, how many devotees are there in ISKCON? He was giving a lot of credit to the ISKCON devotees. I don't see devotees or preachers outside of ISKCON who are actually presenting in a pure form the science of bhakti. I don't see it. I don't see it within Hinduism. I don't see it within Christianity or Islam or Judaism. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. By the mercy of the Lord, I am I already read that one. Okay. It's okay. Our time is up now, and any last question I can take? We have about 2 minutes. Yeah, we have 2 minutes. Well, there's different clocks. Oh, we have prasadam to pass out. Okay. So we'll go ahead and pass out the prasadam, and tomorrow night we will continue looking at the 5th canto quotes and discussing more on this very important subject matter. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Prasad, everyone come. Children first. All the kids come up first, please.